YouTube. Hello, everybody. Hello, I'm Anne.
I'm Brian.
That's Brian. And we are going to do some yoga today, starting standing up and bouncing. My favorite yoga activity that is maybe more a qigong thing than a yoga thing. But anyway, feel free if you're feeling really sluggish today and you can't get off the ground to jump in place a little bit. That's totally fine. Or if you're feeling really energized and way up in your head, feel free to keep the feet on the ground and just shake everything down as if you're sloughing off the day and letting it compost into the earth, the atmosphere, your house, wherever, letting it just disappear to feed some kind of energy that wants to feed off of that. So just shaking and bouncing because it's so great. And you can kind of hop in place or turn around or bounce up and down your mat, whatever you like. You can shake a leg, you can shake an arm, anything you like to just loosen up and take the energy down, basically. So from here, let's take the feet about mat width distance, maybe like 2.5, 3 feet, and we're just kind of bouncing shakes side to side a little bit, letting our bouncing evolve into more formalized twisting. At some point, you can just stop bouncing altogether, and we're just going to twist back and forth in a way that we were taught as Tibetan twisting. The idea here is that we're keeping our hips forward as we twist side to side. So our hips aren't going anywhere, our shoulders are open, and we can bring our hands up to chest level as if we're skimming water, as if we're standing in a river or a lake that's up to our neck, and we're just skimming water along the top. Inhaling to the right, exhaling to the left if you like. So it looks like this, inhaling, exhaling, exhaling. And as you exhale, if you like, you can make the sound shh. So the complete movement with all its layers. And then when you're ready, arms can come up into cactus arms. Same thing, inhaling right, exhaling left. And then lastly, arms come down by your side as if you're manually turning a hula hoop. Same thing, inhaling right, exhaling left. And you can let it unwind, like you've spun up a swing on a swing set real tight, and then you're just letting it unspin. And we'll shake it all off again, just coming back to our sort of centering and grounding. From here, I am taking off my sweatshirt because I am going to get warm. Let's do some squats. Just a few. We're going to use up all our energy and then lay on the ground and stretch the hell out of our bodies. So feel free to take a nice wide stance, so that when you bend your knees aren't going out over your ankles, but they're staying either right above the ankles or slightly inside of the ankles. So we're going to start with knees straight. We'll inhale, arms come up above the head. Exhale, standing back up. Inhaling, squatting down. Exhaling, standing. And to show you from the side, as I inhale and squat down, my tail is still tucking and my knees are coming out over my feet here. You can kind of see. So just continuing with that kind of form, inhaling, exhaling. The arms act as a pump here. And then next time you come to standing, we'll stay here and inhale, standing, and then exhale, squat down. Inhale, stand, exhale, squatting. So we're reversing our breathing from before. coming back to standing, shake it off a little bit if you like. And yogi's choice here, you can either bring feet to about hips width distance or slightly wider. We're gonna do some arm warm-ups. Or if you're like me and you're abundant in energy today, you can take a nice wide stance, come into your squat again. Again, the squat is with the tail tucked, knees tracking over the feet. And from here, we'll take the thumbs into the palms, fold the four fingers around the thumbs, take the arms down by the side, so in my case, they're right in front of my hips here. And I'm going to rotate my hands at the wrist here. So getting little wrist curls. On my next inhale, I'm going to take my arms out wide to the sides, and then up above my head. And then exhaling, hands come down in front of you. When they get to the bottom, just shake them off a little bit. Hands come back into the same position, thumbs in, four fingers curl around them. Let's take those wrist curls the other way. So rotating the wrist the other direction now. This time, let's inhale the arms out in front of us. And then exhale from the top. Arms come wide and down. Then we get to the bottom. Feel free to shake the arms out again. Take them out into a T. Thumbs come in, four fingers wrap around the thumbs. Again, we're doing this sort of windmill activity here, rotating from the elbows. If you're feeling exhaustion in the thighs, feel free to straighten the knees. And then when you're ready, we'll switch the direction of the rotation, taking the forearms the other way. Not forgetting to breathe. I'm trying not to forget to breathe. And then from here, last but not least, let's take the arms straight out into a T. We're going to draw little circles with the arms, spiraling out to bigger and bigger circles, possibly crossing in front of the body. If you wish to shake a little as you do this to help with any sort of fatigue in the thighs, that's fine. Then we'll take the arms down to a T again and go the other way. Little circles. I love how this looks, working their way up to bigger circles. No one ever said yoga was graceful per se. And then we'll take the arms out into a T again, palms face up this time. Little circles spiraling out to bigger and bigger circles, possibly crossing at the wrists in front of you. And then last but not least, same thing, other direction. Little circles, palm face out, spiraling to bigger and bigger circles. All right, we're gonna do the strongest thighs and arms from this class. And then let's just shake everything off. Legs can come back together. Maybe bending one knee, bending the other. Let's take the feet out. Oh, maybe about mat's width distance. Hands to the hips if you like. And we're just gonna roll through the hips here. This should feel quite nice after that prolonged squat. So just, ooh, enjoying the creak of the floorboards. There we go, that's very nice. And then when you're ready, we'll switch direction, taking our hip rolls the other way. From here, I'll show from the side. Let's bring the feet to about hips width distance, so 8 to 10 inches away from each other. I'm gonna bring the tail in and then stick the tail out. Bring the tail in, stick the tail out. So you're seeing from the side here. You can have hands on your hips if you like here. So just going back and forth with the tail, which might also be a lengthening of the abdominal muscles and then a contracting if you wish to make it an abdominal exercise like that. And then when you're ready, feel free to draw a small rotation here. So bending one knee and then bending the other as your tail comes back and forth. So to show from the front, there you go. Hands can be on the hips here. We'll just go for a little while in one direction. And then when you're ready, we'll switch the direction, take it the other way. Very nice, very lovely. Breathing deep. And then last but not least for the hips, Let's take our feet just slightly wider. So maybe my feet are about a foot apart or so. I'm going to bring one hip forward and back, and then the other hip will come back. So I'm doing figure eights with my hips here, side to side, lubricating the hip joints, getting a sense of fluidity and flow in the body. As we get older, our bodies dry out, our joints dry out, our skin dries out, everything dries out, and keeping that fluidity of the movement, the fluidity within the joints and fluidity of the movement of the spine can be really challenging. So that is why we might even want to let this movement evolve into a full spinal movement, which means as you do this, feel free to backstroke. So as if we're swimming through air, and to show you from behind, I really should have a shirt on with like a line down the back so that you can see my spine is just snaking side to side here. It's going like an S curve, sort of, allowing me to have this range of motion even into my near 40s. And Brian, into his mid 50s, can still move like this. So when you're ready, let's just shake it off, get grounded. It's a little easy for me to get up in my head from that kind of movement. And then we're gonna take it the other way. So you can either start with the hips, where one hip comes forward, and then the other hip comes forward, so we're leading from the glutes here. Or if it makes more sense, you could start from front stroking, from swimming forward. I think they call this the crawl. And then let that movement work its way down to your hips. Ooh, just had a back crack. That's very nice. What would you teach after this, Brian, if someone was to tell you to teach a yoga movement?
Oh, I know.
What do you think?
Maybe side stretches.
Ooh, like swaying palm tree.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds wonderful. So when you're ready, we'll just shake it off, and Brian will present swinging palm tree.
So come anywhere on the mat, doesn't matter. You stand with feet hips width distance, both facing in the same direction. We're gonna take our arms out into a T, relax, palms face down, relax shoulders down. And then we're gonna reach long and over to the side as we inhale. So inhaling, reaching, taking those arms like you're grabbing a beach ball, exhaling back through center. Inhale, go to the other side, grab that giant beach ball, exhale back through center. We'll just go back and forth like that, inhaling as we stretch and elongate, exhaling as we come back to center. You can imagine that your body is, it's like a water fountain. So the idea being that you're reaching up first and then tilting over at the top, rather than just collapsing side to side. So you're reaching both sides of the body long. Expanding into the rib cage. And then we'll come back to center.
Chopping wood, sumo
Yeah, let's do the sumo twist and the chopping wood. So let's step out to about pretty wide.
Yeah, I'd say maybe as wide as when we were doing those squats. Like wide enough that your knees don't come out over your ankles, but that you're in a fairly comfortable squat.
You're gonna bring the hands just above the knees on the insides of the thighs. You can squat down a little bit, but tuck that tailbone so you have a nice long back and you're not sticking your butt out in this. And then we're gonna inhale in the middle, exhale, straighten one arm, twist to one side. Inhale back through center. Oh. Exhale, twisting to the other side, straightening the other arm. So we're just going back and forth, exhaling as we twist, inhaling as we come back through center. Keep that tailbone tucking down as much as possible. Nice long back. It's like wringing out your torso. And then the next time you come through center, we're gonna let that upper body hang down. And keep a little, you can turn the feet forward. You can keep a little micro bend in the knees if you need it. And interlace the hands, the fingers of the hands. And we're gonna inhale, reaching up overhead, coming up, maybe the hips come a little forward. And when you come down, exhale with a ha. So we'll do that a few times, take it at your own pace. Ha. You can go fast if that feels like something you want to do, or you can go really slow if fast is making you dizzy or feel too insane or something. And the next time you exhale, we're just gonna hang down, let the upper body hang. Let's slowly toe heel the feet back to about hips width distance. When you get to hips width distance, let's bring the fingertips to the shins and press out into a flat back. Let that back grow really long, so stretching as long as you can, like you're trying to make as straight of a back as you can, but then pull those shoulders down the back. So this is a really interesting idea. You're reaching forward with the crown of the head, but reaching down with the shoulders. So we have a nice open heart, nice long back. And then with all this extra length that you've made in your back, exhale again, fold forward. Now really let the upper body just hang down. You can shake the head yes or no, encouraging it to relax. And let's just hang out a little bit in our forward fold. So feel free to do whatever you want to do. If you want to pedal the knees, you can do that. If you want to grab opposite elbows and swing side to side, ragdoll, you can let your hands droop on the floor. Whatever you want to do, just really feel free to keep the knees as bent as much as you need to. Just really letting the upper body relax, hang down, release. And then we'll slowly start to roll up the spine, one vertebrae at a time. Take as many breaths as you need to on the way up. And when you get to the top, let's take our shoulders. We're going to inhale them forwards and up. And then exhale, roll them back and down. And then you can just turn the palms face out, standing in Tadasana. Let your shoulders relax. But let your head and neck be nice and long, tailbone slightly tucked.
Will you lead us through to Tadasana from the bottom up, or do you want me to? You like how I'm doing?
Yeah, you got the whole spinning.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting rotations to this. So I'm turning to the side so you can see exactly what I'm doing with my tailbone. So Tadasana, or mountain posture, it is a very simple posture where we just kind of stand here with a nice elongated spine, which is great. But if you want to really get, precise and extreme about it, and you don't have to, feel free to stand with feet about hips width distance. So the sides of the feet are parallel. There might be slightly more distance between your heels than there is between your toes. And hips width distance, for those who don't know, 2 fists right next to each other in between the arches of the feet. From here, I'm actually going to stick my tail way out in a almost sort of preposterous kind of sense, and then straighten my knees. At this point, there's an inward rotation of the calves and the thighs. I want an outward rotation of the thighs. So I'm going to put my hand on my tailbone here and just take the tailbone down. So I'm standing up, my spine is long, the tailbone's going down. And now I've got that inward rotation of the calves and an outward rotation of the thighs from my tailbone coming down. At this point, let's open up the shoulders by turning the palms forward like this. And then let's take the palms to the ribs and tuck the lower ribs down like that. So my heart is open, but I'm not, shining it out at the universe. I'm just gently letting it shine at the universe. From here, chin is parallel to the ground. This is Tadasana. Ta-da! So at this point, feel free to reach down with one arm and then reach down with the other. So it's not really a hiking of the shoulders, but just a reaching down, going back and forth, side to side like this. You can go slow, or you can experiment with going a little faster. Hands can face forward, or they can face your hips, or they can face backwards, or they can face away from your hips. Just kind of see how things feel here. This is actually a massage for the organs of the abdominal cavity. As our shoulders go back and forth,
our ribs rub back and forth against our lungs, our organs rub back and forth against each other. So just a little massage for the organs here for a second. And then let's just shake that off a little bit, and we're gonna move that movement up to the head. So at this point, I'm gonna take one ear towards one shoulder, and you can stand in mountain posture here if you like. And then take the other ear towards the other shoulder. So it's like there's a paintbrush on the top of my head, and I'm just painting the ceiling back and forth like this. Ear to shoulder, ear to shoulder. So we go side to side just a little bit. I've learned from experience, do not do this too quickly, even if it looks cool when you're on stage. And then at this point, feel free to bring the chin towards the chest as you continue this movement. So we're getting a nice stretch on the upper trapezius. On either side of our neck is a muscle that connects basically from the ear to the shoulder. And this kind of movement gives it a nice stretch side to side. And then at this point, let's bring the chin back to parallel to the ground. And then if you're comfortable, you can lift the chin a little bit, same thing, side to side, but just a little here. And please take care to keep the back of the neck nice and long as you do this. We don't want to crunch back in the neck like this, but we'd rather just maintain the length, maintain the stretch. And at this point, we'll shake it all off again, and we're gonna, I think, perhaps Frankenstein our way to the ground for the rest of the class. Oh, and if you have a belt or a scarf or a rolled up sweater or a traditional yoga strap, aka belt, feel free to grab it at this point and put it next to your mat because we're gonna need it later. So to Frankenstein our way down, big toes come to touch. There's probably about 2-3 inches in between my heels here. I'm gonna take the arms right in front of me like I'm about to attack someone. I'm gonna find a point of focus on the wall in front of me that's not moving. I'm gonna come up onto my toes, gazing at that point of focus here, having as much control in this very subtle little balance, maybe it's not so subtle. And then at this point, I'm going to bend my knees and use my hips as a counterweight as I slowly bring myself down to a toe stand. Your point of focus at some point might have to move from the wall to maybe a spot on the floor in front of you. If you've made it to your toe stand and you feel comfortable standing here, you can come into prayer with your hands. And if you're still comfortable, you can take the knees wide, toes, big toes are still touching. Interlace the fingers so that the pointer finger is straight, but the rest of the fingers are wrapped around each other. And I'm going to point my fingers in front of me and lean forward as my tail comes back and my upper body becomes more and more parallel to the ground. Then when I get real low, I'm going to bend my elbows, bringing my hands back towards my body, towards prayer in front of my heart, and then wrap my hands around my heels, hanging out here, balancing all my metatarsals, just inches above the ground. And then when you're ready, hands can come down, hips can come down. Here we are on the ground. Let's take the feet out in front of us, hands behind us, and let the knees rock side to side. What do we call this posture, Brian?
Mud flap girl.
Oh, really? Oh my God, that's so messed up. It's not really messed up. So from this point, let's straighten out the legs in front of us too and just turn the feet back and forth. I'm teasing you. I invented mud flap girl name, so I'm the jerk. So at this point, let's come all the way down onto our back. So I want to do just a little bit of abdominal stuff, and then we're going to have fun with these straps. So up to you, depending on how challenging you want to make this abdominal stuff. If you want to make it extremely comfortable and easy, you can either take your strap and wrap it behind your knees and hold the strap towards you like this so that my legs are in this kind of 90-degree angle here. Legs are together and feet are together, and I'm going to rotate from the ankles. So I'm drawing little circles on the wall across from me. If you want to make this more challenging for yourself, obviously you can let go of the strap. You can also interlace the fingers of both hands, making a little basket, and gently hold the head in that, really engaging the abdominal muscles to keep the head up more than using the arms for this. So when you're ready, let's switch direction, rotating the ankles the other way. If you're doing this, as an abdominal exercise, try to keep your knees together. If you're doing this just as a rotational exercise, obviously your knees don't have to be together there. And then when you're ready, we will draw the knees in towards the chest and just rock side to side a little bit, relaxing the low back. And then we'll move on to the next rotational movement, which will possibly build abdominal strength. Again, same thing. You can have a strap under your knees here if you like. This time we're drawing whole circles with the foot instead of the toes. So the rotation appears to be coming from the knees here. And again, if you want to make this more of an abdominal stretch, you can interlace your fingers, holding your head up more with the abdomen than with the hands, but they're just kind of there for fun. And knees come together here. When you're ready, let's switch the direction of the rotation, taking the knees the other way. And breathing deeply. Where did I get all these bruises? My goodness. This is what I get for wearing shorts. And then when you're ready, we'll draw the knees into the chest. This time, you can put the palms on top of the knees and we'll just draw little circles with the knees. So getting a nice massage for the low back. And then when you're ready, we'll switch direction, massaging the low back the other way, drawing little circles with our knees the other way. And then the last rotational movement, and possibly the last abdominal exercise. This one's a little different. You can either keep your spine completely on the ground here, chin is tucked, neck is long, hands are down by your sides. Or again, you can support the head, but really use the abdominal muscles to be keeping you up more than the neck muscles or the arms. At this point, we're going to draw circles on the ceiling with our knees, and they mirror each other. So basically, my knees come in towards my chest, then they open out wide, go down and together, and then back up. So I'm drawing these circles with the knees, and the rotation is coming from the hips. Very nice. Feel free to take this at your own pace. You can go slow or fast. And then when you're ready, we'll switch the direction, going the other way. So this time knees come together, down and out, and then come up and together. So together, down and out, and then up. Or whatever the opposite of the direction you went last time. Your choice. And then from here, we'll let the head come back to the ground if it's elevated. Knees come back to the chest. We can put our hands under our knees here. And let's just rock up and down on the spine a little bit. Just going back and forth. We're going to get one more abdominal thing. I told you, I know that we were done with that. But this rocking back and forth is so incredibly inspiring that the next time you are up and you're rocking, let's come into boat. And this boat, let's start with our toes on the ground. So I'm going to hold under my knees. My knees are bent, and then I lengthen my spine here so that there's a long line from the top of my head to my tail, ideally. Sometimes it's easy to hunch into this, but if you can keep the line long, the toes are just touching the mat here. This can be your boat right here. If you want to take it further, you can bring the knees either, you can bring the shins parallel to the mat like this. And again, you can hold behind the knees here if you like, or hands can be out at your side. Or if you're comfortable with it, you can straighten the legs. Clearly, I'm not comfortable with it, but somebody might be. So feel free to straighten the legs if that's the case. You want to keep a nice long spine here. So we're going to hang out in this boat for just a second, breathing deep, opening the heart, lengthening the spine, and then let's come down real low for what some people call canoe. Hanging out here for just a second, feet are maybe about a foot off the ground. And when you're ready, release all the way down. You can turn the feet in and out. You can turn the palms face up, face down. You can turn the head gently side to side. And we'll just kind of shake it off and grab our little straps. So whenever you've got your strap-like object, feel free to bend both knees in towards the chest. We're gonna loop the strap around both feet and take the feet straight up to stand on the ceiling. If you like practicing yoga with a yoga block or block-like object and you're more comfortable doing it this way, you can put a block under the hips and then bring the feet up. So we're just kind of hanging out here with our legs up in a very simple inversion. If you want, this is gonna be fun. This might be better without the block actually, so save the block, we'll need it for later, but if you want, you can take both ends of the strap into both hands. So my hands are together here, and I'm just gonna draw little circles on the ceiling with my feet. And by little circles, I mean like circles the size of maybe a quarter. Like they really don't have to be that big. This is a very, very subtle little hip stretch. And then when you're ready, we'll draw those circles the other way, maybe getting a bit of a stretch in the hamstrings as well. And then when you're ready, we can take our left leg out, bend the left knee, and bring the sole of the left foot to the mat. If you feel comfortable straightening out the left leg, you can take both ends of the strap into your right hand, put your left hand on your left hip bone, and then straighten out the left leg, keeping track of that left hip bone to make sure it's not popping up or out to the side or anything unwieldy. And then from here, let's draw, let's draw that right knee in towards our face, I guess. Right leg comes in towards our face. Breathing deep. And then when you're ready, no hurry. If you have your block and you want to use it, you don't have to. You can put it about 2 feet away from your right hip and just open out that right leg to the right, possibly resting the right calf on a block. If you aren't using a block, that's fine. You can just let the right leg kind of hang out in the air, or you can bend your right elbow and kind of use that as a break as the right leg comes out towards the right. So opening up through right hip, you might find that your right hand can go a little bit higher up the strap, drawing your right leg higher up towards your right ear. Woo-wee! Hello. That's something. And then when you're ready, we'll bring that right leg back up to stand on the ceiling and then just gently draw it to the left a little bit while still keeping that right hip connected to the ground. So it might be that you move that right foot to the left only like 3 inches. That's fine. At this point, I have to move away from the wall. At this point, feel free to take that block that's possibly is on the right side of you or block-like object. Place it on the left side of you, maybe about a foot away from your left hip. And we'll draw that right leg all the way over to the left. Now letting the right hip come off of the ground and twisting so that your right leg is going to the left. You can take your right arm straight out from the right shoulder and look out over your right arm so you're getting a full spinal twist here. Just make a point to keep both shoulders tracking towards the ground. Breathing deep. Possibly feeling this on the inside of your right thigh or somewhere else. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale that right leg back up, take the strap down. So my right leg is just standing on the ceiling here. And then gently let the right leg come down to meet the left as if you're watching the leaves fall outside your house. When both legs are on the ground, the right leg possibly feeling quite long compared to the left, feel free again to turn the toes in and out, side to side, loosening up the legs from the hip joints. And then we'll do the same thing on the left side. So feel free to bend both knees here for a second and bring the soles of both feet to the ground. My arms are still in a T, and I'm just gonna let the knees rock side to side for 1 second to just kind of loosen up the hips before we open up the left hip. And then when you're ready, you can either keep your, well, first let's start off with this strap. Let's take the strap to the ball of the left foot and elevate the left foot so that it's standing on the ceiling. And then from here, you can either keep your right knee bent, or you can take both ends of the strap into your left hand, take your right hand out and place it on your right hip bone, and then let the right leg straighten out. So we'll keep our right hand on the right hip here, just to make sure that we're not letting that hip bone pop up anywhere, go anywhere too bizarre. So at this point, your block is possibly still conveniently placed to your left. Let's draw that left knee in towards your face, maybe bending the left elbow, really trying to keep the left shoulder tracking towards the ground here as well. Might be hard depending on the length of your strap, I get it. And then when you're ready, we'll open out the left leg to the left very gently, possibly letting the left calf rest on a block. And if you feel like you've got a little slack here in your strap, you can actually move the left hand further up the strap towards the left foot, possibly drawing the left foot higher up towards your left ear. Okay, a nice deep stretch on the inside of the left thigh. Breathing deep. Then when you're ready, we'll draw that left leg back up to stand on the ceiling again. This time, let's take both ends of the strap into the right hand. Feel free to grab your block with your left hand and put it on the right side of you, kind of about a foot away from your right hip. And then let's just draw the left leg to the right 3 inches or so, maybe more if you find yourself with really flexible hips. But the idea here is that both hips are still on the ground. My left hip hasn't come up yet. We're just getting a real little subtle stretch first before coming up all the way. At this point, let's take the left arm out to the left, straight out from the left shoulder. And then we'll let the left hip come up as we take the left leg all the way over to the right, possibly resting the left calf on a block if you like, and then looking over your left shoulder. So at this point, you're probably feeling this stretch, perhaps on the outside of the left thigh, outside of the left hip, maybe also on the inside of the left thigh too. So a little spinal twist here for just a second. Then when you're ready, left leg can come back up to stand on the ceiling again. I have absolutely no concept of what time it is. Do you know?
I don't either, but the phone helps me.
Yeah, what's the phone say? What time?
20 up.
20 up. Great. We have 5 minutes left. Perfect. So feel free to take the strap off now. My left leg is just standing on the ceiling here. And now you can let the left leg come all the way down as if it is a leaf floating off of an autumnal tree. When it gets all the way down, feel free again to turn the toes back and forth, rotating from the hips here so the whole leg is rolling back and forth, side to side. Palms can come down by your sides as if you're in Shavasana. And again, palms can go face up, face down, face up, face down. Rotating from the shoulder here. So my legs and my arms are rolling side to side, just loosening up. And then I'm going to gently roll my head from one side to the other. By gentle, I mean so gentle, like as if you have a cervical spinal injury and you don't wish to aggravate it, kind of gentle, just back and forth. And then at this point, right before we get into Shavasana, I would love to take our hands right to that place where the ribs split. So at the bottom of the sternum, there's a little soft area right here. I want to take the pads of my fingers to that soft area and just gently press in with the finger pads and then gently massage that area in circles. Just pressing in as much as it's comfortable. And I'll come up to the camera so you can see what I'm doing with my hands here. So they just come right to that split in the ribs. I press in with the finger pads, not the tips, and then just gently rotate through here. So first we'll go in one direction for a little while. Breathing deep. And then we'll go in the other direction for just a second. So feel free to switch the direction of your rotation. And then you can take the hands off the belly. If you're wearing glasses like me, feel free to take them off and place them somewhere safe nearby where you know you won't roll on them. Let's take our finger pads now to the center of our forehead and then just take them down a little bit until you find the ridge of the eyebrows, that little divot between the ridge of the eyebrows and the rest of the forehead. That's where we're going to take maybe just our pointer and middle fingers to and gently press there. Obviously, you won't be able to press very far because of our skulls, but just gently press there and rotate the fingers in one direction. So it's as if we are massaging the area in between the eyebrows and just above the eyebrows, the third eye center. Breathing deep, softening the edges of our mind. And then when you're ready, let's switch direction, going the other way. Rotating the fingers, pressing gently, possibly rubbing out any tense thoughts of the day, of the week, of the month, of the year, of the lifetime. And then when you're ready, fingers can come to stillness and let's just smooth the fingers slowly out the eyebrows. You can do that a couple times. Just smoothing the fingers from the center of the forehead down to the edges of the eyebrows. And then when we get to the edges of the eyebrows this time, let's let them hang out just on the outside part of the eye. There's a little gentle spot there. You can push in, so gently push in and rotate both hands on either side of the face, massaging that area just outside the eyes. Possibly feeling your eyelids moving, drawing tight and loose around the eyes. And then switch directions, massaging the other way, rotating the fingers the other way. And we'll move our hands down the cheeks, so fingers are spreading down the cheeks till we get to the chin. And just smooth the fingers up and down the sides of the face, like you're rubbing on the sides of the face of a Saint Bernard dog or a basset hound or something, and their jowls are all loose and waggly and drool is everywhere. And it's really quite wonderful. And then feel free to take the arms down by the sides for Shavasana arms. And the last thing for the face will be done without the hands. Let's just take the jaw back and forth gently. If you have TMJ, be very mindful as you do this. There might be some cracking. And then feel free to take a deep inhale, filling up the abdominal cavity with air, And exhale, feeling the belly fall towards the spine. Tucking the chin slightly, tuck the tail slightly. Lift a little bit of the shoulders, bring the shoulder blades slightly together, and then let the shoulders lay back down. And anything else you need to prepare for Shavasana, feel free to take this time to do that. And join us in our rest.
So when you're ready, you can let your mind return to your body. You can deepen your breath. You can start to wake up the body by moving the toes and the fingers. Feel free to deepen your breath. You can turn your head side to side even if you like. You can roll the wrists and ankles while you're moving toes and fingers. So we're going to stretch really long on the mat. So let's bring the feet together. Press out through the heels. Interlace the fingers of the hand. Send the palms of the hand away from the crown of the head towards the wall behind you. And inhale as you stretch really long on the mat. And then when you go to exhale, let's take the knees into the chest. You can hug them in. We'll work our way up to seated. So if you want to do any rocking, you can. If you want to rock, come up, roll off to the side and then come up that way, you can do it that way as well. Well, however you like, we'll eventually make our way up to a nice seated posture. And when you get there, you can just start to join me in Prana Mudra, which is it's reaching up as we inhale and pushing down as we exhale. You can even sway your back with this as well, so you can arch your back as you inhale, reaching up. You can round the back as you exhale, pushing down, just gathering up all that prana and then pushing it right down, right into near your belly, right into the center of your body. Trying to conserve it, cultivate it. And then the next time you inhale, reach arms up overhead, you can let the palms touch. Exhale, palms come down to heart center, and then you can feel free to join us in an Om if you'd like. You take a deep inhale. Thank you for coming today. The light in me sees and honors the light in you. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you. We will be here next week. Although we will not have any class on Friday. So